Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and for today's Linux OS review, we're taking a look at Ubuntu Gnome 16.04. Now, we are only a couple weeks away from the final release of the entire 1604 series, so I am running the final beta so that I can get these reviews done. Wanted to try to get all of the 1604 series reviewed and out there on YouTube so that everybody's had a chance to look at it before the official release date, know the good, the bad, the ugly, all that kind of stuff. So that's why we're running the beta right now. I want to take just a quick second to say thanks to all the people over at Google Plus that wished me a happy birthday today. Yes, today is my birthday, April the 8th. Really do appreciate it, everybody. Anyway, back to the review. So Ubuntu Gnome 16.04 is running Gnome Shell 3.18, not the latest 3.20, and this happens every release cycle. And we always have people complaining that, oh my God, Ubuntu Gnome is released and it does not have the latest Gnome shell. Well, the reason for that, it just comes down to a matter of timing. Ubuntu puts restrictions on the official distribution, so Ubuntu Gnome, Ubuntu, all of them out there, and they have what they call the feature freeze. After this certain date, you cannot add any more features. Well, generally there is just a couple of days between the latest GNOME release and the feature freeze. So there just simply is not a matter of timing. No matter how many developers you had, there is no way that you could go and prep and test and do everything that you need to do to add the latest GNOME release in just those short couple of days. So it's always just a matter of timing. Now, the GNOME team does provide some PPAs so that after they have had a chance to go and do some testing and see that it's reasonably safe and functional and all that kind of stuff, then you can go and uh, add that, GNOME 320. But like I said, we're not, Ubuntu GNOME 1604 isn't even released yet, so it's still kind of early to be worrying about the PPAs. Anyway, if you are interested in them, though, if you go and just do a search for GNOME 3 PPAs, and if you get over to Launchpad, you'll see the GNOME 3 team, and there's essentially two PPAs that you're interested in. One is this one right here called GNOME 3, and if you come here to under Ubuntu 1604, this is GNOME 3.18 packages that haven't made it into the normal Ubuntu 1604 repositories. So this is a good one for just about anybody to use. And then later on, you got here GNOME 3 staging. This is the one that is going to allow you to do that upgrade to 320. And you can see there's some 320 packages in there. It looks like there's 319. So when you're looking at GNOME packages, if it's got an odd number, so like this is 319, it's a transitional package, whereas 320, that is GNOME 320. The odd numbers are going to be transitionals. So anyway, like I said, it's still really early for worrying about that right now. Now, probably the big news for not only Ubuntu GNOME, but for just Ubuntu in general, is the changing from the Ubuntu Software Center to the GNOME Software Center. Now, this is something that the GNOME users have been asking for a long time, so we've got it now. And like I said, it's available to all the Ubuntu users, not just the GNOME users. Um, I think it's a nice looking application. It's fairly streamlined. You got a search bar at the top, so if you know what you're looking for, type it in, boom, find it that way. Or you can browse around. They got some editor's picks and some recommended Office applications listed here. It'll tell you what you have installed if you've got it installed. Down at the bottom, you can search around by category. So click on graphics, and they got a featured category, and then it's categorized by you know publishing, photography, all that kind of stuff. So personally, I've been playing around with it for a while, not just on since it's been added to Ubuntu, but in other distributions that had the Software Center. And really, I think it's a nice application, easy to use. It's not the fastest for installing stuff. It is kind of slow. Here, we'll go and install Inkscape here. Just click on what you want to install, and now I just added my password a second ago. Normally, it'll ask you for your password, but it starts installing, and boom, let it do its thing. So, like I said, not real fast, but you don't have any of the glitchiness, the crashes, the freezes, all that kind of stuff that we had with the Ubuntu Software Center. So, I definitely think it is an improvement in that respect. And it's not a bad looking application. I think they did a real good job with that. Now, the one problem that I have been having with the Gnome Software Center is only going to be significant to those who are running the Gnome desktop, and that has to do with creating the category folders in our overview. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's take a look at it. If you go to your activities overview, it shows all your applications, and if you scroll down, you've got two category folders. You've got utilities, and then you also have the sundry. Now, let me close that up and drag the Software Center back over here. Now, the Software Center is designed so that if you go to where it says installed, you can create your own folders, and all you would need to do is you just click on the checkbox there, and I don't know, let's see if it'll actually work for us. And I have not been able to get it to work yet in 1604, so I don't know if the feature has been disabled or it's not working in Ubuntu or whatever, but long story short, it's not working. So anyway, what you would do to put stuff in a category folder, you select what you want to select. I selected the LibreOffice, and then you go to add to folder. You can pick an existing folder or create a new one. Let's call one Office. Click add, select Office, click add, boom. All that stuff should be added to a folder. But if we go to activities, look at our overview, there's nothing new here. So like I said, I don't know if it's purposely been disabled. It's a bug. I don't know. I've been trying to find an answer, and I haven't seen anything yet. So unfortunately, that was something that I was hoping to see, but I have not. One of the big features of GNOME 3.18 has to do with the Nautilus File Manager. We now have Google Drive integration by default. So when you're initially setting up your system and you do the online accounts, I'll just pull it up here. You've got this online accounts thing, and the only thing I've set up right now is my Google integration. But when you're doing the integration here, just by setting up Google integration right here, it automatically sets up Nautilus files so that you're integrated with Google Drive. So you can see over here on the left hand side down here where it's got my email address, that is your Google Drive. Just click on that, and it does take it a little bit of time to sync. Now, one of the downsides of the integration is that you don't have offline access. So it's a, I don't know, what do you want to call it, a live sync, so to speak. Okay, and you don't have access to those files when you're not online, um, or maybe Google servers go down or something like that. But for a default integration, I think it looks pretty good. It works fairly well. you know Adding folders and files and all that here, it shows up in your Google Drive, so it's not a view only thing. You have access to everything there. The only, like I said, downside is going to be the no offline access. So let's take a look at the software that is included by default. I'm going to go to Activities Overview, and we've got our additional drivers. We've got Solitaire, Gnome Books, Brasero, the Gnome Calendar, Cheese, our contacts, our document viewer, Empathy, Evolution. We have Evolution instead of Thunderbird for email. Gnome Files, previously known as Nautilus, Firefox for our web browser, gedit for our text editing, ImageMagick. We've got input settings for keyboard and tablet and all that kind of stuff. We've got the LibreOffice Office Suite, Mahjong. We've got Gnome Maps, Gnome Minds, Gnome Music, Gnome Photos, a lot of Gnome stuff. And Rhythmbox. So we've got both Rhythmbox and Gnome Music. This is the first time that I've seen Gnome Music included in Ubuntu Gnome, and we'll come back and look at it in a minute. We've got our settings, simple scan, simple screen recorder I added for doing the video. We've got GNOME software, we've got our software updater, startup application, startup disk creator, Sudoku. Of course, we already talked about the SunDry. We've got our terminal, transmission for our BitTorrent. We've got our utilities here and a whole bunch of little stuff in there, the calculator, archive manager, document viewer, all that kind of stuff. GNOME videos, GNOME weather, and our diagnosis. So let's talk a little bit about some of these in more detail. And tell you what, let's talk about music, because like I said, we've got two music players. We've got Gnome Music and Rhythmbox. Rhythmbox is pretty standard. We see it on a lot of distributions. Gnome Music's, and I've been playing around with this. I only added a couple of it popped up over here. I only added a couple of music tracks from my main desktop just so that I could play around with this application. And I mean, it's nice and clean looking, and I like that. But as far as how it works, it's not very intuitive. Um, so, like, you come here to your playlist, and well, let me kind of go back to the album covers. I mean, you can click on here and it shows you the album cover, but it doesn't, there's no indication of how to actually play a song from these albums. Same thing if you go to artist and you go, if you even get here to the list of songs that I have, it doesn't, there's nothing indicating, click here to play, no, no music player of any, nothing that lets you know how to use this application. And I just randomly clicked on a title, and boom, it starts to play. And then not until then does, the fast forward and pause buttons and all that appear at the bottom, which I think is kind of stupid. Okay, there, like I said, there's no indicator of how to use this. Okay, after you've used it a few times, you're going to remember, hey, yeah, I got to click on it, and then the music player actually appears. But for a first-time user, you're not gonna, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just me because it's a new application and I'm not real familiar with it. But to me, that kind of that kind of setup is kind of stupid. But anyway, once I figured out how to use it, no issues, no crashes or anything like that. Everything seemed to work fine. It would have been nice to have some kind of indication that this is how you actually play music on your music player. Okay, so we got that application, and let's go and what else did I want to talk about? Gnome Calendar, um, and once again, if you need Google Calendar integration, that happens automatically when you put in your Google account in the online section. So you can see I've got my various Google Calendar events that are synced and whatnot, and you can go and add an event from here. You can synchronize from here. Um, and then right here you can choose what is displayed on your calendar, and then from here you can also go into your calendar settings and different sync options for Google Calendar integration, own cloud integration, Microsoft Exchange, all that kind of stuff. Now, one application that I did have all kinds of trouble with, and that is Gnome Books for ebook reading. They're popped up over here. So here's what the application looks like, and unfortunately I really can't show you anything more than this because I can't get it to read anything that I've thrown at it. And this right here, is an EPUB. It could not open that. It can't open Mobi. Um, I haven't been able to do anything with it. So um, really, there's not anything to show you right now. And I do realize that that is still considered to be a piece of preview software. Um, but it's almost like this thing's not working at all. Why even bother including it? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, um, but um, that kind of seemed like a waste of time. 1604 brings us kernel 4.4. As far as RAM and CPU usage, you can take a look at what I'm doing right now. I'm running roughly 1.7 gigabytes of RAM used right now, and that is with my screen recorder running, a couple other applications open, Cheese is open, all that kind of stuff. Baseline, at least for me, was right around 800 megabytes of RAM, which is about where I'd expect GNOME 3 to be, unless you've got a ton of extensions running and that sort of thing. Um, some of the extensions do tend to be memory hogs and whatnot, but without a whole lot of extensions, yeah, you don't have too many of them. And most of my CPU usage is due to the screen recorder. Those of you that done the screencasting, it can really eat up your CPU juice. Functionality wise, this distro has been a little bit of a mixed bag for me. The GNOME Shell has been working fine. The Ubuntu stuff has been working fine. Most of the applications have been running fine. It has been just a few applications where, like for example, the GNOME software, it works great as a software center, but it is not creating those GNOME folders for me. And once again, I have no idea what's going on with that. And then, I pointed out no music. It's not very intuitive on how you're supposed to use the application. Um, so I've had that. Then there was the issue with GNOME Books where it just simply doesn't work. Nothing that I've thrown at it, it's been able to read. And once again, I realize that it is preview software, but really there's nothing to preview if I can't get it to do anything. So, there's been issues with that. Now, as far as the regular day-to-day kind of stuff, using LibreOffice and Nautilus files and all that kind of stuff. That stuff's all worked fine, so no issues there. For those who are interested in testing Wayland, you can test Wayland on Ubuntu Gnome. And it's not installed by default, but it is in the official repo. So all you need to do, let's open up a terminal. And all you need to do is sudo apt get install, and let's see, what's it called, gnome session dash Wayland. Type in your password and this will install it, so click yes, let it do its thing, and then you're going to log out. When you log back in on your GNOME login screen, you're going to go and you'll have an option there where you can select what session you want to log in. Select GNOME on Wayland, and boom, you're in. So I'm going to pause the video here, and hopefully all the webcasting or video casting stuff works under Wayland. We'll see. So, Simple Screen Recorder is one of the applications that does not work under Wayland, at least as of not of yet. And you know, you would have thought that that would have been one of the applications that I tried. Nope, just found out. So anyway, yeah, I tried my when I checked out my video clip, all I had was a blank screen. So you know, if you want to see what GNOME on Wayland looks like, I guess you're going to have to install it and run it yourself. You know, really, looks wise, it didn't look any different. The biggest difference was is that you will notice there is absolutely zero screen tearing. So I mean, that was a big plus right there. And anyway, so having said that, I guess that about finishes this review up. As always, leave comments, questions, all that kind of stuff down below, and I will try to get to it as soon as possible. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. As always, I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Should be Kubuntu 16.04. I'm not sure, but that's probably going to be the one that I do next. But anyway, I hope to see you all on that next video. Thanks a lot.